to drop out of school. It causes us to break up our marriages. I struggled with drinking, as many of the survivors do.
Now, how did you come out of it? You look normal to me, and I'm quite sure. I mean, you have relationships. I mean, you're married. I mean, all that good stuff. But how did you come out of it?
Through the grace of God. Everybody interprets things differently, but it wasn't easy. People will look at my life, and I know a lot of people are quite shocked that I'm speaking out and that this has happened to me because I seem to be a very confident and very successful person. But the truth of the matter is that internally I have always struggled with these feelings and struggled with how I go about it and go about living and overcoming and holding this inside, because I had never told my wife. The only two people I had told up until now, up until I began talking to the Archdiocese, I first reached out to Father Bishop Goddard, who was the Vicar of Priests. And for those who don't know what the Vicar of Priests is, the Vicar of Priests is the priest that is in charge of all the priests in the diocese.
He's Mother Teresa.
There you go.
Okay.
And so I called him. I called the Archdiocese maybe about 92 or 93. And
Did they try to say you was crazy? I mean, they try to play you off as a crank?
No, he just ignored me.
What about priests here in Chicago? I mean, you a Chicago native. Did you tell him the priests here?
Yes, well, Bishop Goddard was here. He was at the Archdiocese of Chicago.
Okay.
After Bishop Goddard ignored me, again, I felt abused again. I felt raped again. I felt like that 12-year-old again that was being
psychologically raped.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And so it took me maybe a year to decide to speak out again. I then went to Father Mike Pfleger.
Father Mike Pfleger, he's in Chicago, St. Sabina priest. Go ahead.
That's correct. He's the pastor of St. Sabina's. And the reason I went to Father Pfleger is because from outward appearances, he was someone that I thought fought for the rights of children and someone that I could trust to help me. And he would at times come to St. Charles Lwanga when I lived in the rectory growing up and be the featured speaker at some of our revivals. So I respected the man. So I called him up and I told him that I would like to talk to him, that I had some things that I was struggling with, and I would like to talk to him. He told me to come over. I went to his rectory. He answered the door. I went in. We sat down. I began to tell him about the abuse I had been suffering from Father Stewart, and he knows Father Stewart very well. He knew Father Stewart very well. And
by the way, Father Stewart is dead. To mind, the sucker got away. But as the brother says here, God is taking care of. But damn, I would have loved to did God's job. But that's me. But go ahead. So you went to Pfleger. You told him. Go ahead.
So I told Pfleger what was happening, and inside I was, happy to get it out, and I thought that Father Pfleger was going to be my savior. And what Father Pfleger did was, it just shocked me. He asked me, he said, well, have you talked to Father Stewart about it?
The same guy who was raping you?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And I said no. And at that point, I shut down because I just couldn't believe that that was the question.
What about Father Clemens?
Well,
he was here.
Well, I never told Father Clemens.
Okay.
And I never told Father Clemens because Father Stewart, during the course of me living in a rectory, and it's important to know that, I lived in a rectory, so he not only was my abuser, but he was my parent as well. When I was sick, he took me to the doctor. When I needed lunch money, he gave it to me every day. My first car, he bought for me. And so it was he trusted me. And, I was his wife, as he would tell me all the time, and I was his child.
Now say that one more time. You was his wife? He said
I was his wife.
And his wife, his old lady. Well, go ahead. And his child.
Right.
So that's incest and, go ahead.
That's right. And so he told me one day about Father Clemens. He said that